Hello, this is Master Traders of Knowledge and today's our lecture is 3 and in this lecture we will talk about these lines of instructions. So before learning about this we have to learn about the function. So let's start and learn function. What if I want to print this line 6 times? And then I will compile this, and when I will compile this I will see my code, and you see when my line ends here, the next line starts from here too. So I want the next line to start from the next line. So how I will do that? I will close this, and at the end of each line I will type /n like this. This /n is an operator to print a new line. So this is a new line operator. So when I will try to compile this again, you will see that my 3 lines are in new line. There is another way to do this, and that is I will put the greater than sign here and type NL like this, and when I will try to compile this again, you will see that NL and /n both have same working. So let's move ahead and learn about functions. What if I want to decorate this line? Let's do that. I will go and delete this as well as delete this, and I will write a line and put something here and copy this line. So now when you will execute this, you will see a beautiful text like this. So what if I want to print this 6 or 7 times? Let's do that. I will copy and paste, copy and paste. Okay, now when I will compile this, you will see that we have this output. Now take note that there are a lot of lines which are duplicate. These duplicate lines are taking memory, and duplicate code is not good. To avoid duplication of code, we have to use functions. So how I will do that? I will print the same result like this using a function. So let's see how we will do that. I will go ahead and delete this. When I will do that, I have to create a function. To do that, I will name a function which is hello. It can be anything, and then after writing hello, you see that there is a main like this. We have hello. After that we have to type these 2 parentheses like this. When we will do that, there is one more thing, and that is the data type. What is data type? Data type is something that a function returns. Okay, so this is int. Int means integer. So this main function will return integer. So when I will specify a data type, it means that function, when it will complete its action execution at the end of that function, it will return a data of that specific data type. In this case, if I type int and write the braces here, which will specify the scope of this function, then this will become a function of integer type, and this function will return integer. So now I want this function to return this line of code. So you can see that these are not integer, these are characters. So I want this function to return what characters, not integer. So in programming, when we combine multiple characters, this becomes string. So this text is the combination of characters. So in programming, we call this a string. So I want this function to return me a string. Okay, copy this line of code here and paste it here. For the simplicity, let's not return anything from this function. And when the function will call, this will print the lines of instructions here. To do that, I will just remove this and place hello, the name of the function, and its parentheses here. So when I will try to compile this will show an error. Why? This is because hello is not declared here. It's because this string hello is after the main function. In C++, the execution starts always from the main function and ends in the main function. So when the compiler starts, the compiler goes in the main function and try to execute hello. It will not see any instruction to execute hello because the hello's instruction is after that main function and the compiler not went there. So to execute this, we have to cut this and paste this before the main function. And when I will try to execute this again, this will work fine. So now you can see that in int main function I just called hello, and the hello called these set of lines. And when I will call this hello multiple times like this, then it will call this line of sets multiple times, and you will see there is less duplication of code because of this function. And now you will say that the hello is also duplicating itself. We can avoid this too by using loops, but in this lecture we will not learn about loops because we have to clear the understanding of int main. We will learn about loops in our further lectures. Let's compile this. So when I will try to compile this, you will see it's printing 2 times, but here I have tried to print this 6 times. So what is happening here? So you see that here our function is returning string, and in this function we have not returning anything. To return from a function, to return a data from a function, we have to use a return command. So what's happening here? When we are not returning anything, the function is returning a temporary data, and in programming term we call this a garbage data, a garbage value. And that garbage value is the reason that why this is happening. So to avoid that, there is 2 options. The first one is that I will return a empty string like this here. So the function will return a string of an empty space, and when I will try to compile this again, you will see that it will work fine. So it's working fine. What about the second options? What if I will make this function to not return anything? To that, I have to remove this return and change the string to void. So void is also a type which represents to not return anything. It means nothing. This function will return nothing. So when I will try to compile this again, this will again work fine. So now you do know the meaning of void. When a function has a void type, it will return nothing. and when we'll specify any other type, we have to return some data through that function. What if I want to change the text here? And when I will call, I want a new text here, like hello master traders, or like hello Canada, something like this. So how I will do that? For this, I will say that when I will call the first function hello, I want to print this function hello Canada, and when the second function will call, I want this to print hello Pakistan, and so on. So I will remove this, and now what I have to do is to just pick this data in this function. So I will create a variable here. And what is variable? Variable is a location in which we can store a data. So how to create a variable? I will just specify the name, and before that name I will specify the data type, that what kind of data the variable will have. I will change the name for you so that you can understand. So you can see that why I have put the string here. It's because I'm inserting this set of characters, and the set of characters is also known as string. So in programming, to represent set of characters, as I told you before, I have to write string. Now what I want, the data in this variable to be printed here. I will go ahead and copy this and paste this here. It will not work right now, but let me show you that it will print hello variable, hello variable, hello variable 3 times. So in this line I want Canada, in this line I want Pakistan, and in this line I want world. You know, these codes represent set of characters. So anything which I will put in this code, the compiler will just consider this as a text. But we know that this variable is not a text, this is a variable. So how I will specify this? To do that, I will just remove the code from here and place it here. When I will do that, I will then tell the compiler that after hello, put the value of variable, put the data of variable here. Do that, I will use a plus operator, or I can also use this symbol. I will go for this approach, and you'll see that there is not any next line operator. So when I will try to compile this, this third line will be placed after the second line. To avoid that, I will again put plus here and put the quotes here and place a next line operator like this. Or I can also use handle. Okay, so when I will try to compile this again, you will see this, that this is hello Canada, Pakistan and world. And when I will change the value here like US, it will automatically change here as well. So this is the meaning of a variable, how variable use. By the way, the variables which are placed in the parentheses is known as parameters. So the US, the Pakistan, the Canada are the parameters which I'm passing in the help function. And you also know what are data types and how to return a data from a function. Let's study further about returning point of view. So let's start. Okay, so I have told you about variables. So let me show you how to create a variable. First I would write a name that can be anything, and before that name I have to specify the data type. So I am creating a variable with a type of integer, and then after that I will put a terminator at the end. This semicolon is known as terminator, and this terminator specifies the compiler that this statement has been completed and it's ended by a terminator. So whenever we will complete a statement, we have to put a terminator at the end of that statement. This is how we will declare a variable. What if I want to store a data in this variable? I will use a assignment operator. This is equal to operator. I will store 10 here. So I stored a 10 in this variable, and I want the data of this variable to print on the screen. So we know that to print something on the screen we have to use cout, then this symbol, and then the name of the variable. Okay, I'm going to delete this as well. Okay, so now when I will compile this, you will see that 10 is printing on the screen, and you can see here that I'm just printing the variable. So this cout is printing the data which is within this variable. So when I will change the value like this and try to execute this again, you will see the values changed on the screen. So like in our daily routine, we use addition, subtraction, division in numeric data. So these integers are numeric data. We can also perform addition, subtraction, etc. in this program. So what I want, I will create an other integer variable which will be named as variable 2. Okay, so I will store a 10 in this, and I will store a 10 on the first one. And what I'm gonna do here, I just want to add the value of variable 1 and variable 2, and then want to print this. So we know that we have to add, we have to use addition operator, and then I will write variable 2. So what will compiler do? Compiler will add these two variables, and then it will print this on the screen. So you can see this a 20 is on the screen. So we are going to dive in the return value of a function. So I will create a function which will sum two variables, and I'm going to name this sum, and I want the function to return the integer. So this function will get two integers, add them, and return the integer value. So we know that this is a structure of a function, and I want two variables, variable 1 plus variable 2. Okay, so this sum function will add variable 1 and variable 2. To do this, first we have to put some data in these variables. So how we will going to do that? We know the parameters. We can send data through parameters. Okay, so I'm just going to call sum, our function which we defined here, and we'll pass 20 and 30 here. Okay, when we will pass 20 and 30, we have to catch this here. To do that, we know that this 20 is integer and this 30 is integer, and there are two values here in the parentheses, so I have to catch two values. So I will just write variable 1 and variable 2 here. So this 20 will be put in this and this 30 will be put in this, but there's something wrong. Can you tell me what's that? We haven't specified the type of these variables. So we know that these are numeric, these are integer. Then we have to tell the compiler that we have to catch integer type data. So whenever we will call sum, we will put 20 and 30, and the 20 will be put here and the 30 will be put here. So the values are in the variables, we will add them. Okay, so when this operator will add them, we want this function to return the added value, this sum. So how I will do that? I will say the compiler that return this variable 1 and 2, the addition of variable 1 and 2. The compiler will add these two and return the value. To make this code more simpler, I will add two smaller brackets here. So you know that in maths, the smallest bracket get executed first. So the compiler will add these two variables first and then return the value. Okay, so now we have created a function of sum and want to print the value of sum, returned value of sum, into the screen. I will go just put sum here and try to compile this again, and when I will compile this again, you will see that we have an error here. And why this error occurred? Because we didn't tell the compiler that our statement has completed. To tell the compiler, we have to put the terminator here, and then I will try again, and you will see that 50 is printed on the screen. So 20 and 30 is equal to 50. Okay, so this is how we use return values and print it on the screen. We also can store the value in our variable. So I'm gonna store an integer value. So I'm gonna create an integer variable like this, and on that variable we are going to put the returned value of sum here like this. Okay, so now when this function will execute, the function will return the value, and that value will be stored here, and then I will use that variable to print it on the screen. So when I will try to compile this again, you will see that 50 is printing again. So now you have learned the data type, and you have learned about void, integer, and you have learned about what are variables, and you have also learned about parameters and how to use a function's returned value and store it on the variable. Now let's move to our main topic, that what is int main. I'm gonna remove this, and okay, so this int main is our entry point of a C+ program. Whenever we will run a program, the compiler will go in the main function, and the code in that main function will be executed. Okay, so this int represents the returning type of the main function. at the end of every program of a C++ program, that program will return an integer type value. So why it returns a integer type value? We have to specify this integer type because first, it is the rule of C++ programming, and second, in operating system like Windows, Mac, we have to tell the operating system that we want some memory from RAM in which we can work. So when the compiler will execute int main, it will first allocate some memory and then execute some instruction in that memory. Okay, so when I will put the void here, it can also work on some compilers, but it will not work in our current compiler, which is .c++. It does know that we are running this on a operating system. When we will create a program which will load in boot menu, which doesn't need any operating system, then we can use this void. But when we will load a program in a operating system, we have to tell the operating system that we need some memory, and for this we have to type the integer, and this will allocate some memory and we will execute our instruction in that memory. So when I will try to run with void, then it will show error like this. As I already told you, in some other compilers it will not show any error, but it's not a good approach until you want to create a software for boot menu. Okay, because there we don't have any operating system to tell that we want memory. We can just allocate memory there and we can use void main. So that's why we have to use int main here. At the end of int main, you will see many programs which will return 0. So it doesn't matter if you will write return 0 or not. A function which have a data type will definitely return anything except void. As you saw before, when we use string function and didn't return anything, it was returning something, and because of that something, our program was crashing, not responding. So in this lecture we have just touched the basics of functions, and I hope you understood. So this is the end of our basic playlist of C++, and I hope you will support me by sharing my videos, because your like and comments will help me to make other videos for you. So I am planning to create another intermediate course for C++. So your like and comment will support me. So make sure to support me so I can make other videos for you. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.